Hi everybody, Jeff Prentice here. Let's use Photoshop to create a design for a design fundamentals course, say, or even a color theory course that deals with depth and volume. Now, what I want to do in this particular tutorial is use some shapes from photographs that I've taken. No clip art, no appropriated imagery. I just want to use some photographs. I want to use some fairly rough montaging techniques, but I'm going to focus on overlapping change of scale, maybe some gradients or some value ranges in there, maybe a light source, something to create a basic design that will demonstrate an understanding of the subject matter in the lecture material for depth and volume and texture and the things that we're covering. So first thing I want to do in Photoshop is do File, New, and I'm going to do 1024-768. Here's your web format, 800, 600, 1024, 768 on up. This is pretty much about as big as we want to go for right now. And we could even make it smaller for the sake of this tutorial, but let's keep it there. Now, I'm going to go through my iPhoto library, and I'm going to look through, I had a previous tutorial I did that got deleted, so I'm just going to redo this. And as I recall, I really liked using some of these natural looking textures and things that these are original photographs, okay? So let's go ahead and pick that. No, we don't want that. Hold on. We might want this. Okay. And let's see here. Let me just open up a few of these. Okay, so we've got, kind of an earthy texture there. And we've got some kind of plant form, maybe some sky or something there, and then some weird egg image that I might be able to use. I'm going to go with, geometric abstraction. Now, these image sizes, okay, are going to be much bigger than my canvas. So I'm going to do a select all. Well, one thing I can do is I can do a select all, and I can copy it. And I can go over here to my canvas and I can paste it. You're going to see that it's going to be much, much bigger than what in other words, it's a much higher resolution than this 72 dpi thing. So I can size it down if I want. If I'm smart, depending on what I'm doing, I might want to resize everything down to the resolution that I'm working in, but a lot of times I like to do a thing I call scan high and drag low. Let me go ahead and position this. Alright, now I'm totally winging it here. I really have no clue about what I'm going to make, and so I did Control T there, transform, to get it a little smaller. But generally the way I like to work for a lot of these, kind of a formulaic approach to some of these designs, is the first thing is subdivide the negative space. Always think about the set, okay? Think of a set. You're a set designer, and your elements in your composition are going to be the actors. So here, for example, I might as well just go with this here. I'm going to select this. I'm going to subdivide my negative space by darkening that background. So. And one thing I should do here, unfortunately we can't work in color, so before I forget, let me do a select all, do a Control U, which is just your hue saturation, and let me bring down my saturation. Okay? A lot of times what I'll do then is do Control L, which will bring up my levels, and sometimes I'll just click auto and see what happens. But generally, here we can see we bumped up the highlights and took down some of the darks. And I can continue playing with this as I go along. Let me go over here now and select. This is kind of an interesting form. I think I'm going to be selecting, I'm holding down my shift key to get circles, right? Perfect circles instead of ellipses. Copy. Zipping right along here. Wow. That is huge. Yeah, I might want to change my resolution. But you know, I don't know. I kind of am open for letting surprises happen. This is an example of scan high and drag low. Look at that fantastic, odd kind of texture. Now another, here I'm going to invert it. Another thing I throw out to students sometimes is kind of a formula that you'd apply in a fix if you just needed a quick composition, which is huge, medium, and small overlapping shapes in a subdivided negative space composition with a range of values. That's going to generally give you some good results. Let me see on this one. Let me resize this one. Image, size, uncheck resample, change the resolution to 72, recheck resample, and change the width. I'm going to change the width to the width of the canvas I'm working on. Double click the magnifying glass. There you go. Now something like this, sometimes what I like to do is just see what happens if I select a shape like this at random, copy it, and go over here and paste it in. Again, I'm totally winging it, and I'm going to try to do this fast. No guarantees as to how how well this composition is going to come out. I don't know about that little flower form in there. Again, these all have to be, you know, black and white. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to position. I'm trying to find, you know, I can, if I decide not to use this, of course I can uncheck that. I'm looking for something basically, just very quickly, that I can show you. Let's go over here. Let's copy that. And let's bring this over. I think we already did that one, did we not? Well, we'll do it again. Except I'm going to make this much smaller. Okay, we don't have much, well, we've got some overlapping going on. All right, so where was I? Let's see here. Desaturate. So, but here's my thinking. A million interruptions. All right, here's my thinking here. Big, huge, looming shape. Kind of a darker background here that I want to make actually more contrasty. Kind of a foreground here, and then something in the background. You know, so you get big circle, smaller circle. Now I don't have anything really small yet, you know, to put in there, and I don't want to get into copy and paste syndrome. I might just add a new layer, and maybe I'll just do something on my own, you know. Maybe I'll just do something like that for right now. No, I don't know. Again, we'll see. Ooh, I kind of like the overlapping though there, because you know you can't have too much overlapping. Now let me go ahead and adjust this background layer. I'm going to use my magic wand. Wow. Now a lot of times I like to hide the selection, those marching ants. Just Control H. And now I'm going to bring up I have two options. I can bring up hue saturation and just darken the entire background, okay, which actually is not too bad. Or I can bring up Control L levels and I can bump up my darks there, which is just going to bring up the low end. I kind of like that because it leaves this shimmering kind of textural surface. So I've got the start of an abstract composition here. Of course, I've lost my white dot, right? I can select that. I have auto select layer turned on from my move tool, and I can actually, you know, do something like that. I can move these layers around too. Watch, I can make this go behind that. Okay. Yeah, nothing like working at home. Okay, so I've got a huge, medium, small shapes. Look at that overlapping. I'm not super happy with the composition right now, but I think you can see where I'm going with this in terms of making You know, I can play with this a lot more, and I can adjust the values on it. I can start inverting. This one in particular is very lackluster to me. I don't know. You know, this stuff takes a little bit of time to, you know, I'm looking at the rule of thirds, which is kind of an interesting little rule. Here I'm pulling out my guides, or my guides, I guess, my rulers, turning on your rulers with Control R, I'm sorry. Command R or something. Let's break this into thirds. Supposedly, this little area, the intersection here, is a good place for a focal point. And who knows, maybe I'll even want something, weird like that. I don't know. But again, you know, it's kind of up to you guys to play with this and push it around. And you know, you'll notice I'm staying abstract. I'm referencing some kind of rough landscape, but I'm also staying very abstract. And there's nothing that says I can't do something a little bit more stylized. I mean, obviously I'm considering unity, you know, in terms of my composition, but you know, I can also get playful and I can experiment. I can do like a David Carson knockoff, you know, with some very carefully picked typography. I can play with scale. I don't know about this little thing, but if I want to hide them, I just click on them. Maybe keep those in the background for later. I'm really not a fan of that little black. Okay, so I'm keeping things out of the corners so I don't make a big diagonal X. Okay, and I'm thinking about proximity. I'm thinking about the closeness of things, grouping, emphasis. You know, I think I kind of like that. Now, what's the last thing I want to do here? I'm going to do a file save as, and I'm going to call this depth. I'll call this depth volume. Okay, PSD. I'm going to save that. This is my master. This has got all my layers in it now. If I want to go back and I want to play with this, which I will, because look at these values. There's just not enough contrast here. You know, I think personally maybe I can use some of these photo tools like this burn tool. Get a nice big brush in there. Maybe I can add a little more drama, a contrast between that edge, you know? All right, let's save it. Now, check this out. I am going to now do another file save as, depth and volume flat. All right. Now, why did I save two of them? Because this one, I am going to flatten, okay? I have my other one that I can open up that has all my layers in it. But in this one, I'm going to do a select all. I'm going to resize it down a little bit because I'm going to think about presenting this, all right? I don't need a border on this because it has the values already. The only thing I need now is a label. And boy, these Macs are just smoking fast. Come on. Here we go. Let's initialize that type tool. Here we go. So, I've got Arial, 11 pixel, whatever. The title, I'm going to call this Midnight at San Miguel. Jeff Prentice, 2012. That's the way I like to title it. Okay. And I've used all my own photographs for references. I've stuck with, you know, abstraction. I'm not trying to create a little palm trees on a beach with seagulls. I'm sticking with basic forms that where I'm trying to get some overlapping to create depth. I'm trying to create a range of values to create, you know, contrast, drama, mood, and, you know, big and small shapes to get that sense of scale. And of course, everything has a lot of texture as well.